Welcome to our first edition of the afternoon program. And again, this is our first time doing an afternoon program, and I'm kind of excited about it because we're coming here from the Bolger Center, and we are actually at our strategic leadership planning 2 day event for the board. So we are actually getting live in interactive information. Um, First of all, I want some feedback from our people that are joining us to find out if you prefer this time or you like the 9 o'clock in the morning. So please give me your feedback. I want to hear from you. So I want to touch on a couple of things real quick, and then we're going to move it over to Jeff Miller, who is also joining us this morning, as well as Jonathan Rivlin. Welcome, Jeff and Jonathan.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so sometime today, we are going to be getting some notice about the new 1040 form. I mean, roughly it's supposed to be postcard size. Now, is that a 6x9 postcard? Is it going to be the 6x4? Who knows? But we should be getting some kind of information on that sometime today. So look forward to that. And as soon as we get something out there, we will definitely be posting it on the Facebook. Also, for those who have been watching, on June 21st, the U.S. Supreme Court overturned the old Quill Corporation decision in the case of South Dakota versus Wayfair. This will now allow individual states to attempt to collect sales tax from out-of-state sellers, such as online or website sales. So what this means is you don't have to have an actual physical presence no longer in the state. Is that correct? That's what I thought. Okay, so this is really going to impact a lot of our clients and impact a lot of our businesses who we represent.
Yes.
And this is going to be a big tax planning opportunity for a lot of us, correct? So with that, so we really have not heard a lot of guidance on the issue. So to help us through that, in 2 weeks, on July 12th, we're going to have Jim Dawson, who used to work for the controller in the sales and use tax area, join us on our Facebook presentation. And he's going to give us some nitty gritty about the details on this Supreme Court decision. So if you have, which all of us have clients who are collecting sales tax or use tax of some sort, I mean, you want to definitely tune in for that presentation. So again, one more thing I want to touch on this week, as in last week. Last week, I attended the Board of Accountancy meeting. This week, I attended the Tax Preparer Board meeting, and they, again, meet monthly. The one thing that I did bring back from that meeting that's kind of important that you want to share with your staff, if they are looking to take the tax exam to become a registered tax preparer in Maryland, the exam will now be launched on July 1st, and that's the new exam, and they are going to use 2017 tax law. That's very important. They're not going to use the 2018 Tax Act. It's going to be still using the 2017 tax law. So if you know anyone that's looking to be or is planning to take the exam after July 1st, please make sure they have that information. And one other change there, we were thinking about upping the ethics questions on the exam. They decided not to do that. They're going to keep it at 5 questions of the 100 exam questions that you have on the exam. And you still have 3 hours to complete the exam. Now I want to turn it over to Jeff Miller, who is going to be talking a little bit about some strategic planning for your business and maybe for yourself personally. Jeff?
Sandy, thank you.
You're welcome.
So it's a pleasure to be here. This is the second strategic retreat that I'm facilitating for the MSAPT. And, the end of June, it's a great time. You're mid-year. And we've set goals in January, perhaps, hopefully. And so here we are midpoint. It's a great time to take stock, and say, okay, where are we with these goals? Are these goals still relevant? Do we need to to switch directions a little bit? There's a difference between goal setting and strategic thinking. And I think that for a lot of business owners, particularly smaller business owners, we don't always perceive that difference. Setting a goal is great, but taking out time to think strategically about your business, to think, okay, where do I want to be in a year or 2 or 3? Not a sales quota. They're two different things. And part of that is a time management issue. We don't take the time to think strategically. And I encourage clients to take an hour or two a week and block it off as though it's a client appointment and do strategic thinking. It's something we're not taught how to do that in school, unfortunately. And I think it's really important for small business owners. I mean, for what we're doing here today, we had a strategic planning session back in June of
Yes.
last year. And we had three very specific initiatives, goals that we're working on, strategic initiatives. Um, and here we are in mid-year 18 and saying, okay, where are we? Are these
Hmm.
three, are they moving in the right direction? Does it still make sense to put time, effort, and money into it? Do we need to change it, alter it, add a different one? Business is really fluid. So that strategic thinking is so
Well,
important.
I'll tell you, Jeff, it has helped us as the society a lot. I've been with the society for 27 plus years, and we thought we were doing strategic planning, but when we do have these type of sessions, and we bring it all together and really have lay it out to what we need,
Mm-hmm.
it's great. No matter how long you've been in business,
Yep.
or how many years, whether it be 1 or 27 or will be 60 next year, strategic planning is an integral part of your
Yep.
business.
And you guys are to be commended because you get it. And it's a really important process to go through, and I can't emphasize it enough. As a coach and as a business coach, executive coach, facilitator, there's so much opportunity to grow your business, and it's not complicated. We think sometimes these things are complicated. They tend to be simple, not always easy, but simple. So you were great because we just broke it down. Right?
Right.
We went through a 7-step process. We identified mission, vision, but then the intent was, no, we're going to walk out of here with a plan of action, which is what we did, and we were able to come up with those three initiatives with an agenda for a game plan for implementation. Ellen obviously is one of them. So champion, team, budget, matrix, timelines. Those are the kinds of things we want to be looking at when you're thinking about doing strategic planning.
And I think the other thing is to make sure that you complete the plan that you have in place. That's the most difficult I
Mhm.
found, is that you have this great strategic plan, and you put it all together and you have it set out. But if you don't complete it, it's not successful. And that's very, very important. And I think having the passion to do it
Mhm.
and having the support. So, of your friends and family, and also your staff, and as well as your board, it's an absolute team effort. And
Absolutely.
I think that's wonderful.
Question from off the camera. So, as a lot of our folks in our network are maybe solo accountants or solo props, and maybe a one-person shop, what can they be doing, or what tenets should they be thinking about in strategic planning? Maybe borrow from what larger
So
companies do and make it work for them.
I think great question. I think as a solopreneur or solo shop, you approach it the same way. You don't alter it. If a methodology works, work with it. And I have individual solo businesses that I work with as clients where we do the same thing. I show up with my flip chart. We spend a day in a conference room and we go through the same process because it works. It's about identifying who you are, what your purpose is,
Hmm.
and you guys were great at that. Understanding how you want to fill the purpose, and then building a plan of action around it. Because written goals are really important, but without a plan of action, it's just a pretty piece of paper, right? So that plan of action is the critical last step that most companies, if they fall short, that's where they fall short.
Hmm.
Um,
And how do you work with clients in that capacity? Is it like you do monthly check-ins or every couple week check-ins to see where they are in performance of those goals, or what does that look like for you, Jeff?
it depends on the client. When I'm working with business clients, it's usually we're meeting weekly. When I'm working with, and we're working on the strategic plan, but other things that come up as well. When I'm working with associations and nonprofits, I think we've checked in probably at least quarterly,
Quarterly.
if not a little bit more.
Hmm.
And that gives me the opportunity to make sure things are being implemented. I met with all the champions. I've spoken with Sandy a number of
Hmm.
times uh, because you got to keep momentum moving. It happens. The days go by so quick, and especially with Sandy,
Hmm.
that before you know it, you look around and say, "Wow, it's the end of June, and what have we done?"
Right.
So again, this time of the year is a great time of the year to take stock. Take a couple of days off, go to the beach, and think.
Hmm. Yep. Wonderful. Okay.
Thank
And
you.
You think?
one last question
Yes.
around that. What about people who've gotten to June and thought, oh shoot, I've
Just
not
missed
really
it.
done anything that I outlined. How do we prevent remorse and regret and still
It's a good question.
push forward?
Well, it's a great question. It's never a matter of beating yourself up. right? It's a matter of saying, okay, so I was going to do this, I didn't. There's an exercise that I work with clients on. It's called Be Do Have, where you list out the things that you want to have, then you list out the things you need to do to get what you want to have, and then you list out who do I need to be. So if you know what you want to have and you know what you need to do and you're not doing it, it becomes a question of the be. And that's what you need to look at that point. Now that's not a journey in just meditating. It's actually because you have to be and do at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So even at this juncture of the year, there's still ways to accomplish some massive goals if you're committed to looking internally. What stopped me? Well, maybe it wasn't a goal.
Mm-hmm.
My feeling about a goal is that it has to elicit an emotion, whether it's nervousness, whether it's excitement. If you don't feel some kind of emotion around the goal, it's a task.
Mm.
So yeah, and if anybody out there wants to, kind of talk about that further, I'm happy to. So
Yes, it just
thank
gives
you.
you shivers.
Yes, guys.
That's I
It's
get
great.
right here with you, Jeff and Jonathan. I get shivers right here. So thank you, Jeff.
Thank
That
you,
was
Sandy.
and wonderful, and thank you again. And you have done a great job for the society, and you're keeping us on target. And I appreciate all the
Thank
efforts
you.
and the challenges you've given me personally. Thank you so
You're
much.
very welcome.
You're welcome. There you go. Now we're going to turn it over to Jonathan Rivlin. You probably know the name. Jonathan writes our Tech Talk series in our um, e-weekly email. Yeah, thank you. E-weekly email that comes out. And I'm sorry, Jonathan is joining us this morning because he's going to give us a little preview on some upcoming things by giving us some information on Bill.com.
Yes.
Jonathan, I got to tell you, I just came a Bill.com person. And I am having a little bit of challenges, so I'm really interested in hearing what you got to say this morning. So no pressure. So,
Right. Pressure's what I do.
yeah, there you go.
Well, thank you, by the way. I've been a member of the society for a long time, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to give back. And Jeff, it was nice to meet you.
Good to meet you, Jonathan.
Expanding on your very good presentation, I was always taught by my father to think. He's also CPA. To think 12 moves ahead, in chess, right?
Mm-hmm.
So part of the plan of action, right? You have your goals. How do you get them into reality? For us and our firm, Bill.com was part of that. And so let's talk briefly about Bill.com. Actually, for the Tech Tips series, I have a whole cycle of articles planned, which will cover the entire cloud from soup to nuts. So we're going to start with Zero, which is the general ledger, it's like the hub of the wheel, and then Bill.com will be one of those spokes.
Mm.
And I actually have them all written. I just need to edit them before I post them up. So what is one of the primary problems of small businesses, our clients, and even our own firms, right? As we are small businesses ourselves, right? Internal control. I'm answering my own question. Internal control is a huge issue. So if you get nothing else out of Bill.com or any of these cloud apps, internal control is the one thing. So as you go through the inevitable challenge of learning curve, just keep saying internal control. I'm doing this for internal control. It really is important.
Yeah, it's really interesting you bring this up because I had lunch with a client yesterday, and one of because of their strategic plan, they're actually working with Bill.com and love it.
Yes.
Love it. And they're in the real estate business.
Oh,
But it's interesting that it comes up.
yeah,
Right.
great.
So for us at our firm, we would get a bill. And this is just for us. It was all our clients. But you get a bill. You have to copy the bill, put it in the file, put it into the accounting system, get the checkbook out, write the check, get the envelope, stamp the envelope, address the envelope, mail it, and hope it gets there. Right. So with Bill.com, the ideal workflow is your vendor will email the bill as a PDF to your business name at Bill.com. Every business gets their own at Bill.com account. It goes there, you get a notification, hey, your vendor just sent you a bill. Then all the different parts of the team can access that bill. So the first one will be the person that codes it. Okay, this is a bill for rent. We're going to code it to rent expense. Then the approver says, okay, I've seen that it's been sent. I see it's been coded. I approve. Then the last step is it gets paid. 4 steps, and it's done.
Wow.
And there's no paper. There's no postage or envelopes. It's just It's just done. And the best part is it goes right into your accounting system. We use Zero, and a 20-year veteran of this industry going from QuickBooks to Zero, that's a whole other article coming up. But it'll integrate with your accounting system. So data entry, right? And uh, when you, as an accountant, become a partner with Bill.com, you get 7 free hours of continuing ed on the technology side.
Yes.
Not every app has that. Like, so Zero requires that you do training for them, but they don't give you continuing ed for it. And then to address your problems, because I'm common, I straddle 2 generations. Like I'm, right? I grew up on the 13 column paper, and now we're in the cloud, and I kind of like the simplicity of the old ways of doing it, but the reality is we just have to be moving on. And my brother will tell you, he also works in the practice with us. My brother will tell you there'll be moments where I'll be using language that would not be appropriate for this broadcast. And you say, it's not the software, it's the user, which really doesn't help.
I'm assuming he's your younger brother.
Yes, my younger brother. So what I would say is, first of all, it's on the setup. Even before that, take off the rose-colored glasses. This is the way of the future. It's good stuff. It has pros. It also has some issues, challenges. So if you go into it anticipating that, you'll be better able to handle when the inevitable challenges arise. So what are those issues? It's in the setup. Have you set up your policy properly? Under a certain dollar level, it doesn't need approval. Over a certain dollar level, you want approval. And that's going to look different for every business. And then have you taken the trainings? Have you read the articles? What I've learned with all these apps, Bill.com, Zero, whatever, is struggle for a minute or two, read the article. If you can't find anything, reach out to the community. Each of these apps has their own community. And then if after 5 minutes, send out a tech support thing. I mean, that's the whole point of all these apps is they have phenomenal tech support. And when you're choosing an app like Bill.com, you want to make sure that they are geeks, right? They are fanatic about payables. They also do receivables, but that's another broadcast.
Yes.
So they're very passionate about what they do. They're subject matter experts, and they want to help their users. So if you're spending more than 5 minutes struggling, stop and just trust the system and send your tech support request, and they'll get back to you pretty quickly.
So don't go back to the old way and say, I'll learn that later.
Yeah, I would say, I can't remember the name of this guy. It was from ancient Greece, ancient Rome. There was a general who, upon landing his army on enemy shores, burnt his ships and made sure all of his troops saw that their ships were burning. And the reason for doing that was to motivate them to say, look, you want to live, you want to get back home. There's only one way, and that's forward to victory. So you just have to say, look, as of this date, we're doing this. And just let that struggle be a learning curve and get her done.
Set fire to QuickBooks, huh?
Yes, into it.
Oh, golly.
Yes, I started in the industry right around the time Intuit launched their fire accountant campaign, and now the accountants can fire Intuit.
Yo, there you go. There you go. Oh, wow.
So,
Well, I'll tell you, Jonathan, you're right. I just sit there and I get myself frustrated and I don't even think about it because I'm just so, I got to get this done. I got to get this done. And again, it only takes those extra steps. Y'all don't need to be sitting there getting frustrated.
Be strategic.
Be strategic. Oh my God, have we just brought this around the corner? There we go. Full circle. There we go. Well, thank you again. I want to thank Jeff and I want to thank Jonathan for joining us here this morning. And I just also want to say, don't forget, next week we are going to take the week off. I'm going to be on vacation. Yay. Celebrating. So we're going to take the week off. So we will be back on July 12th. Again, on that presentation, we will have James Dawson from Miles Stockbridge doing a presentation concerning the Quill Supreme Court decision. And I just want to tell everyone who is joining us this morning, I want you to have enjoy your day on the 4th of July with your family and friends. And from everyone from the staff and the board wants to wish you a very happy 4th of July. And I just want to say that, and we're off. Thank you.